Hello, and thank you for tuning in once again. Today's conversation with Robert Faint is going to take us on a journey of raising 10 kids over multiple decades and being married to the same woman for over 50 years, and the trials, struggles, highs, and lows of what that looked like. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Where are you originally from and how you got to meet Grandma?
You want my background life? Huh?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well,
A little teaser.
yeah. Well, I was born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania back in 1923. And I spent most of my life, my childhood coming in Johnstown, and then nothing too normal activities there. I had two brothers. My oldest brother, Dave, and Paul next, and I was the less than 9. And we had multiple, at that time, people didn't buy homes. So we moved multiple movings, and I can remember some of the different places homes that we moved into, but they were not, anything special about them. But the last one we lived in was up in what we called Roxbury, and that was a bigger home and a very nice home. And at one time somebody said it was not uncommon to have some of the homes with a little mining area underneath you.
Oh.
And they always said that we had our house up there was a nice, well-built brick house, and so I lived in that house until I was moved up in there probably when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I just loved that neighborhood up there, nice old neighborhood. But we it was a real nice neighborhood. A lot of my friends lived right in that area, and I lived up in there until I was still going. When I went to school in Johnstown, I had Johnstown High School, and we had another junior high. And then my grade school was up in Roxbury, and I had junior high. We didn't have school buses then, so everything was either somebody would drive you there or you would start walking. And so we walked I'm not going to tell you how many miles it was to Cochran.
Uphill both ways?
What?
Uphill both ways?
No, yeah. Just a nice, good release, right? With Johnstown, like where I lived in Roxbury, it was a good hike, probably, I don't know how many miles. When a kid, it's not, you just hike it off. But then, I went to high school down in downtown center of Johnstown, and I had 2 or 3 or 4 of us would gang it together and walk to the school, and I went in there until I graduated, and I was 18 when I graduated. And when I was from a steel town, either coal mines or steel mills. There wasn't a whole lot of other employment there. And Johnstown people may recognize the name of Johnstown as the Great Johnstown Flood in 1989, when the dam broke up and they had this man-made lake up in the hills up in there, and they had I can't remember all their names, but there was big business people from Pittsburgh wanted to get it just a little normal lake, but they wanted to make it a summer resort. So they engineered whoever they got, and they put a good breastwork dam up there and dammed off the lake. So that was a lot of nice summer homes for the Pittsburgh and so on and whatever. But so that was how the flood developed, and then they wiped out Johnstown in '89. Jam broke and it just tornado water come down, just wiped out and killed people. I had the figures one time, but something like 777 people perished, and there was a listing of how many families were wiped out, how many husbands, how many wives, how many children in total. So the Grandview Cemetery up in the hill has a great monument up there for the Johnstown flood. But I can tell you there was another flood in 1936 that was just similar to what we get here in Minnesota and Norfolk, up in Fargo. Flood is when the river's ice starts melting and the water starts flowing, and there's no place for it can't get flow through. Pretty soon it just keeps, coming up and up and up and spreading out. So we've had a number of floods here. In fact, Fargo looks almost every year for the river that runs north. Nobody knows why. But anyway, so in Johnstown, you want to know some of my background?
So then, 18 you graduated, and then you were off to the Navy?
Yep.
Now, did you get drafted or enlist?
I got drafted. Yeah. When I graduated from school, I had my diploma, and I walked across the bridge, and there was the mill office there, the employment office. I just handed my diploma. They handed me a ticket. I started to work in the steel mill, and I worked there for 3 years in the steel mills. Then that's when I got drafted. And my dad, actually he was mailed to him. And so he said, get in the car, going up to Altoona, that's the city up above Johnstown. And I went up to Altoona, walked in there, and okay, signed me in. In the blacksmith shop in the mill where I worked, there was 2 brothers, one thinny, one biggie, and the biggie says if you have to go in the service, go in the Navy, you always eat. So I went up there induction, and he said, would you prefer any branch of the service? Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine, whatever. I said, yeah, I'll take Navy. So I got the Navy in. They said, we'll send you, take care of you, and say goodbye to your family. So I went to boot camp in New York, upper New York, Lake Seneca, a nice lake up there. Finger Lakes, 5 of them. And I went in there in boot camp, and I was there for, I think it was 4 months. And they had a closet hut indoor for doing inside stuff. And they said, we were in 4 lines. Why put us in 4 lines? I don't know. But they said, we're going to send Oh, I know. We all registered for machinist school. We wanted a further training into the machinist trade because we're in the Navy and working ships and stuff. So they said, well, this line here will go to um, Idaho. This line will go to Norfolk, Virginia, and Norfolk, Virginia didn't like sailors because they were not friendly down there. and the other one was out on the west coast, up in Portland and somewhere in there. And then the fourth one was Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I said, Harvey, my friend from Pittsburgh, who we went through 3 years into the service together. Harvey, where's Minnesota? I don't know. We found out. So we shipped out, sent us out here to the University of, mine was the University of Minnesota Farm Campus to go to school. So I went for school for 4 months out there for school, and then we finished with school. We were assigned. I knew I was going to be assigned to a battleship, and I was happy about that. I was assigned to the USS Arkansas number 33, and it was a great old battleship. But from there, I was out here assigned to this area going to school. Oh, you probably want to know how we stepped a contract now.
Yeah, I knew where we were going.
But anyway, he had weekend passes, a 3-day or an overnighter or something, and when you here for so long, then you had to either use them or lose them. So somehow we got a couple other guys, and I said, we'd take a weekend pass. Where do we want to go? Somebody says Forest Lake, because he had a girlfriend that lived up there in the next town up from Forest Lake. And he said, I'd like to go up and spend time up there. So we got a bus, we went out there to Forest Lake, and then we split. So I was just on my own, just cruising around, and we'd had no way to get around at all because none of us had a car. But then here comes 2 girls strolling down the street. So my buddy and I, we got in, he did. I didn't. I was awful shy. But he started communicating, talking. So, and finally they said, yeah, we got together. And I don't think we did a whole lot. They took the car and they took my other buddy up to the little town above Forest Lake, and Marbella went with them. But then they come back. Well, while they were gone, I went to the bar and I had a beer. And when I must have drank the beer too fast, 'cause I wasn't much of a drinker. And pretty soon I thought, boy, I'm getting dizzy. All I know is I walked a little park across the street. There's a picnic table there, and that's where I ended up on a picnic table laying there, trying to. Shouldn't tell those things. But anyway, so Marion, her and Marbella had a cabin down on Forest Lake. They were up there for the weekend. And so I said, yeah, I'd like to come down and swim at the lake and have fun down at the lake and do all that kind of stuff. So Marbella was up there. She met a couple of friends of hers from work or something that had also gone up there. But two of them, he said, we have a problem. This was on a Saturday night. We have a problem. You have a room in the hotel, the Frederick's Hotel. Yeah. We would like to trade our cabin for your hotel room so we can go to church tomorrow. I said, that's fine with me. Oh, okay. So we switched places. And I was all settled down in a little cabin, maybe swimming and stuff like that. Here comes the car back again. We're afraid to stay in the hotel. So, and we gave up our room. So, now what do? Well, there was a little, in front of their cabin, on the little stoop, there was a little, like an old couch there. He says, well, you can sleep on the couch, and we'll sleep inside. That works out fine. So I made a big joke about it, but this was true. This was actually true. I could hear them in there, and I could hear furniture moving, and they were barricading the inside. And I told them later on, you didn't see what I had outside. But anyway, and that's how Marion and I met. And as they say, fate. How did it? Navy, big Navy. Why? Why to get to Minnesota? Why did I get up to Forest Lake? Why? Next thing you know, we're just very friendly and we're getting along very fine. And Marion says, so they were heading back, and I said, made it a date to get together sometime we get back into Minneapolis and St. Paul. So that was the beginning. And from there on, I just had a great, beautiful life with Marion.
So then, did you guys get married before you finished up tech school, or was that after tech school that?
After.
So you finished tech school and then shipped out for a while, or what happened?
Yeah, when I finished school, they said you got a pass to go home, visit your parents, and then you're going to report to Chesapeake Bay. I think it was what it was called. I'm not sure. To the USS Arkansas battleship. And that was, I went in February, I went inducted February the 15th, and I got out March the 16th in 1946. And so I was on the battleship for 3 years. And my experiences, if you want to know some of those, the government gave me a trip around the world. I said, you know, something good comes from something bad. Something bad was, I was doing nothing at home. Working in a mill, no life, no attached to anybody. And not doing much more than anything 10, 15 miles from Johnstown that I maybe up into some parks and stuff like that. But here you got a chance to be on a battleship with a lot of people, so you know you got supporters, and you're going to be possibly engaged in some activities that might, you know, scare you or something. And these are just thoughts that I'm making.
Yeah.
But I went, the 3 years I was in the Navy, the first was we did convoy duty. The war was well off in Germany area, over in Europe, and we doing convoy duty with the supply convoy ships. Our job and other naval forces were to surround that convoy with for protection against submarines. And it would take, today it would take, even with the battleship, we'll say it would take you 4 days. It took us 2 weeks. Because you were constantly weaving for submarines. You never stayed a straight course. You just always different course. So we went to Europe, and the first stop was Belfast, Ireland. And I loved it. Just the town. That's hardly ever. You'd get into a LCVP, and they would take you into shore, dump you, and we'll pick you up tomorrow sometime. And you can have some liberty there. So this was during the war when they had blackouts. At night, certain hour at night, everything, all windows had to be covered, everything like that. So any activities had to be early in the day. And I can still hear in the dark those women with there was a club walking on the cobblestones of in town. But anyway, I had a trip there to Ireland, then we came back, and then not necessarily in our order, but we went to support the invasion on the 6th of June, D-Day, and that was by incident. That was Marion's birthday, June the 6th, and that's the day of the invasion. The invasion was supposed to be on the 5th, but the weather was so bad, and I guess Eisenhower and the people got together and said, let's hold off another day. So it was on June the 6th when the invasion on Normandy, and that was the beginning of our actual involvement in the war in Europe. And so our job was to sit out and with the 12-inch batteries, lob into shore. And somebody says, the people were not unhappy, but they were sad that we had to shoot into their land and kill some of the people. And it's a fact of trying to military strategy. Anyway, but motivation of Normandy. And then we were assigned to went to England. We were in Ireland. Then we went to England, Weymouth, England, just anchored out at the ocean away. And so I swam across the English Channel, not swam on it, way back. I swam in the English Channel, and it was colder than hell, froze to death. But England, I got on shore, and it was interesting, but and then from there, not necessarily in that order, but we went to the Sicily. We were involved in the the action there and Palermo, Sicily. And then we went to, partly we were in North Africa. We were at, for the invasion of Africa, where the Germans had a very strong hold in Africa. And very, very, had everything pretty tight, so that was a tough battle there. And I remember we went into two little villages there, towns, and Mers El Kabar and Ain El Turk, the two towns that we came on shore, and there was the town not too far. So, and I saw Gibraltar, across the equator, and we went from back to, or always going back and forth to port, Brooklyn Navy Yard for rework, sometimes changing armament, something. And about how long we were in the Atlantic, I can't pinpoint it. But anyway, so we were in the Brooklyn Navy Yard and then heading for the Pacific. Well, this was all the action was somewhat controlled there in Germany, in Europe. But the action was picking up after Pearl Harbor, when it became obvious that we had other fish to fry, as they say. So we went to the Panama Canal, and that was an experience because the Panama Canal, I don't know what the distance was, but our battleship going through there, I would say I don't think you had two blocks on either side of you, much more. I mean, probably more than that.
I imagine.
But all I could see was banana trees all the way through, going through the Panama Canal. So then our job was in the Panama Canal was to all the way through the South Pacific into the Philippines, down into Leyte Gulf, down in all supporting the troops and doing our armament bombing, and there was always chances of us meeting another battleship. We never had a nose-to-nose battle with a battleship, but we had one with one of our aircraft carriers had a big battle with a battleship, Germany. But Germany had mostly submarines and then the kamikazes, the airplane flyers that know they're going to die. And they were very destructive. And so that part was pretty bad. I got some pictures in my book of a couple of splashes near us from bombs being dropped. And then we went to Iwo Jima, and people have maybe seen some pictures of some things that Iwo Jima was a big, almost like you say it, like a coral mountain up in there. And there was another big battle there. And then we went to Okinawa, and we were in Okinawa when President Harry Truman said we was going to drop the atomic bomb.
Wow.
and twice. Uh, uh, the I can't think of what the heck those terms did. What those towns were right now. They dropped 2 different times.
Yeah, my history's not great at this moment, so I'm not going to be able to help you out.
Oh yeah, but that was horrible. But you're in a war.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was in, and like I said, I was a couple of times back and forth from to Hawaii. But they're back into Portland, Oregon, and back out to sea again. So, but that was it. 37 months.
So did you and Marion get married then while you were still in or after you got out?
Pardon me?
When did you guys get married? Were you still in the service or had you gotten out when you guys got married?
We got married. I was in the service.
Okay.
Marion, she had gone down twice, once for sure. I went home on leave and Marion went out there. We spent time in Johnstown together. And then I've lost that thought now. What did you ask me?
You guys got married when you were still in the service.
Oh yeah.
So then,
Well, Marion, I was out on the West Coast, and she was here in St. Paul, and we hadn't decided without saying anything that we probably would like to, and so I was out on West Coast. She was here. I said I have a 30-day leave coming. That was just about winding everything up. Our job was to go from West Coast to Hawaii and bringing troops back and forth. And I said it'd be nice if we could kind of get. So she hopped the train, and she come out there, and she was in. I got a hotel room for her, and that was fun too because you had to find when she got out there. I didn't know how her and I were going to find a spot to meet. I didn't even know much about the area out there. So luckily she found a policeman and said that well, what your best is he's trying to get her in touch with somebody. And she said she had the name of the hotel. I think it was a Chameleon, something like that. But she said, yeah. So I said I got a 30-day leave, and not in so many words, but just thinking there's not a better chance than now to want to think about that. So we took out. Both of us came back to St. Paul, and that was nice. The family. It was everything was done in the home.
He's online doing games.
yeah, you're
And
good.
he'll really start yelling sometimes.
Yeah, we're good. Yep. Brief commercial interruption.
Oh, sure.
A word from the sponsors.
So, yeah, we come back here. Well, I'll tell you, everybody got together and they got a meal going, and then we had the wedding at St. Agnes, the marriage at St. Agnes. And that's another story. Arlene and Clem were our stand-ins. And hurry up, get some pictures taken. Before we had the wedding, we go to St. Agnes and we're waiting for the priest. And because I wasn't Catholic at the time, and Marion was staunch Catholic, we couldn't be married in the big church. But we were married at the altar church at the back. And that was fine with me. But where's the priest? And finally, Marion, this is January, and it's cold in Minnesota. And finally, Arlene said, Clem, go and see the party and see if you can find out why. And here comes the priest. He was nice. Father Pikel, I loved him. I met him more afterwards. But, so anyway, we got married, and we borrowed a car from Clem's car, and we went to the Lowell Inn that night. And a nice wedding night, a nice meal. So then the next morning, it snowed, and we went up to Taylor's Falls, and then into St. Croix Falls, into the state parks up there. A beautiful white snow, and so nice. Back there, we still had our room at the Lowell Inn. Get back to the Lowell Inn. Your mother-in-law called. You're wanted out on the West Coast. Let's put it that way. There was a typhoon on the move, and we had to get ship moved out away from Anchorage, out of shore, more out into the open water.
Yep.
So here I am. One day married, one day gone. So, but it was took the train out, and as it turned out, it wasn't that bad. But this was shortly before I was going to be discharged anyway. So that's what's the word they don't be they can't be too cautious about a typhoon. In fact, in my book that I've got a picture of our ship in the typhoon. I had the Nevada was a battleship behind us, and this picture shows that in the typhoon, the thing is like this, and you can just barely see the Nevada, probably 5 miles, 10 miles behind us, and it just, it was a lot of, and of course when I was up where I could see what was going on, I had no business being up there. So, you should, but my job was to clean up at the end of the shift and get rid of the rubbish over the side. So anyway, I wasn't in danger at all, but so I come back here and started looking for work.
So how long after you got back did the first kid come along?
Who? Oh, yeah.
How long was it after you got back?
Well, actually, she got when we were out in Minneapolis, Johnstown, my aunt and uncle said, "We'll take you and Marion for a drive on the new turnpike, Pennsylvania Turnpike." And well, yeah, it'd be fun, I guess. So we come back and Marion says, "I don't feel good. I'm sick. I have to throw up." And that's a sign that something different is going to happen. And so we said, "Yeah, well, we think we're probably thinking." We were living with my mother and dad. And I looked at Marion would correspond home, talk to Harlene or talk to Charlie, or not Charlie, but my father-in-law. Really, but I just watched Marion, looked at her, and I just said, "Marion, we're going home." I just knew that she was grieving because she didn't know what was going on in St. Paul. As it turned out, we came out, and Charlie says, "Yeah, we can accommodate you upstairs and fix up a room up there, stuff like that. And just with you and Marion stay here." And it was. I don't know how long. I just knew that Sophie was not well. And I think in December the 10th, she died from leukemia. And I would carry her to the bedroom, from where she was on the couch, to the bedroom, and she was light as a feather.
So Sophie was the first?
So free. She was the mixture. Charlie was Polish, Sophie was German. They were the Losackers, the German, and the Polish was the Trabiatowski. And that's 13 letters on that name. So they shortened it to Trey. But when we came back here, and then we established. Okay, I started. That's where I got the bug to build a house. Maybe, I don't know. I doubt it. Like, but there upstairs was very plain, like the gas lights and stuff, like in the ceiling. Wiring was minimal. Maybe one line run up there. So I had to do a remodeling job up there, and that's when things started popping. Our firstborn. Yeah. And he, by the grace of God, lived. Not at that time. But in 57, polio. You ever notice Bobby has a crunch in his throat?
I did not.
In 57, polio was an epidemic. Killed men. And I I didn't really think there was anything wrong. I just knew that at certain point he was having trouble swallowing. Because I just thought sore throat, whatever.
Yep.
And of course I was just working and taking care of the house. And we would take the kids to the down to St. Peter's, to the medical arts building, see the doctors down there. And we had 4 doctors. They called them they were Irish something or other. Flanagan, Galligan, Walsh, and O'Brien. And I don't know how. Marion probably got on the phone and said, we need a doctor to see somebody to come out here. So Dr. Walsh came. He was and he came to the house and he had a white coat on and a mask. I thought, oh, geez, what the hell is this? And he had Bobby standing over there and he says, turn your head, swallow. He went to the hospital, Anchor Hospital, down off 7th Street, West 7th Street. And you had to go, there was a tunnel under 7th, you'd park on one side, and you go in a tunnel up into the hospital in an elevator. So when we got down there, and it was a real shock to see 4 iron lungs in one room.
Wow.
With 4 people in there living in iron lungs. And the nurses would with hot warm woolen towel, the blankets and stuff, would clean them off, take care of you. I can still smell that warm wool.
I imagine it's something you don't ever forget.
No.
Especially with your kid in there.
And there was, like I say, there was 4 in there. And the one was another about same age, Bobby.
How old was Bobby at the time?
He was, I don't know. He was in school, well, you know that. He was 27. I could figure it out if I had time.
Okay.
But anyway, he was, anyway. So here's my iron lungs, and so I had one car. So Marion, she would go during the day, spend most of her day there, and then time for me to go to work at night. I was working the nights at the hoist. And think. Yeah. But anyway, so there was of the four, the one was a grown, like a grown man, young teenager. Tom, he died. And the other, young boy, David, I'd meet his mother every day, and I'd go in the afternoon on, sometimes in the morning. I'd go in the morning, she'd go at night. And I'd go in there. Oh, I'd meet her in the elevator going up sometimes. One time I come in, I'll come up the elevator, and she's coming down the hall towards the elevator. And she was carrying David's glasses. Not much room for conversation.
No.
So anyway, Bobby had in-house schooling and all that kind of stuff, and but the tracheotomy. I'm goddamn glad Marion never saw. She would have died because Bobby in there, hurry up. He's gonna go down and see him. Hurry up. And you walk in, and there's an area down in a room down there, or whatever. And I look, there's Dr. O'Brien and Dr. Walsh. No, Dr. O'Brien and Dr. Galligan. And they're leaning over Bobby on the cot there, and they're doing the tracheotomy. He's right on the couch. And to this day, I just thank God that I saw it and not Marion. She would have died. The thing, you know, you just know that something's happening that's not normal.
Yep.
You know. So.
But they saved him. He's here today.
Turned out to be great. Yeah. So I'm blessed with a beautiful family that has their own problems, their own fights, their own goods and bad. And the more than one time the cops had to pull them, take them to talk to you. You can't be doing these things. They were kids, and but over the years, by need, I wasn't always around when something had to be done. I started out at the hoist, and they asked me what you can have days in the foundry or nights in the structural shop. And I said, oh, I don't want the foundry. But in the mill, when I worked in the steel mill, one of my cousins worked in the foundry. My other cousin, Charlie, he worked with me in the forge shop, blacksmith shop. So when I said, Nights, I'll take nights. That'll work out because I'll be around during the day, and then she'll take care of it at night. So for 19 years, more or less, Marion was running the ship.
Captain of the household.
I was there if needed. I was there to, put it bluntly, say, I gotta talk to you guys. Or I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna tell you, this is the way it is. When she says something, you do it. And because there's a need for me to be gone, a part of the day.
Yeah, well, you're providing for a family of, well, at one point, 10 kids. So that's a...
And the best way is to work nights, because night rate paid more money. And so, working nights, I was able to. One of the welders at the hoist says one day, said to me, "Are you interested in doing some part-time work sometime?" Yeah, I'll do anything, whatever. They said, "Well, Orville Craig went to the hoist and get a job as a laborer." And then how long he was there, not more than a couple, 3 months or two. And he quit and he was a farmer from Inver Grove Heights, down in farmer, the Craig family. And he had an ornamental iron building. You see my railings and stuff, all that. That's the stuff that we were working on down there.
All right.
And he says, if you want to, Orville's got a big job making iron railings for apartments building in West St. Paul. Huge, a lot of buildings down there. And I know he could use some help if you're interested. I'm interested. So I know at least 12 years, I would go down not too many times I didn't go. I'd go down at 10 o'clock in the morning and work till 3 in the afternoon. And on the weekends, go down there and work in the yarn shop. And Orville, he's a good Lutheran there, but he was very good to work for because he was. They had a large family also, and we understood, him and I, that large families take them a little more than normal. But that hoist would close down every July for 2 week shutdown for plant vacation. And then every other year they would renegotiate the contract. What does the union want, and what does the company want, and what will we give, and what will we give. So, okay, every July, Orville would come and say, "What is the hoist paying?" I'll say, "Whatever. 5.5 an hour. That's what I'm paying for now on."
Wow.
Whatever the hoist was paying, he would pay me the same.
Good person to work for.
Yeah. So, like I say, I was there until the hoist moved out of town and shut down. But in the process, I had 5 of my family work there.
Who all worked there?
Marion, no. Beth got a job in the mailroom for a while. Didn't
Okay.
stay. Rick got was in the engineering, drafting. Make up the plans. Here's what you're going to build. I'll show you where. Here's how we're going to do it. Follow my plan. Peter got a job laboring on the floor, cleaner down there. Chris got a job running in the machine shop, running a drill press, a machine. Rod got a job in the machine shop. Those 5 all worked there.
Nice.
And at one time there was a law that restricted relations from hiring back in. But we slugged them through it somehow. Yeah.
Well, that's gotta kind of be a fun, proud moment when they come along and learn a little bit about what you did and where you worked. And
I even tried Watkins products, door to door. Added that onto the rest of my jobs.
because you weren't busy enough.
Yeah, I had idle time. Well, actually, Clem was the one. Clem worked for the post office, and then he went highway department one time. And they worked for the post office. And he was looking for something. So he was doing with Watkins, and I said, I'll give it a try. Never should have did.
Sales wasn't your thing?
I was not a salesman. In fact, I was extremely shy, bashful when I was growing up. I just not outgoing. Not, like I'm now sitting down. I was a recluse, not necessarily. But anyway, Clem would add a gab, gift a gab. And so I said, Watkins, I'll try it. And the Watkins is, you know what that is, traveling door-to-door sales.
Yep.
Watkins products. I've got them up in here, different things, little samples
Oh, yeah.
of the Watkins product. And so I said, yeah, the office was on Virginia Avenue and University. And you go down there and they'll put you to work. And they'll say, here's your sample case. And here's some of the sample items. And you just knock on the door and say, Watkins, man, what can I sell you today or whatever. And that worked okay because I had a first time through the area that I was covering. I got all no. Oh yeah, I'll do. Oh, what can I be looking for? Okay, now I got a list, and I'm not gonna go door to door. I'm not. I can't get up to the door and say, will you buy something from me? So I did a preferred list. Well, you can only go so many times through that preferred list when they don't want anything anymore. But in the meantime, the boss that's running the office, he says, you ain't taking out enough merchandise.
Yep.
You need to be selling more. Well, I'm not selling it, I'm keeping it. And then when nobody was buying it, I'd just stash it someplace and home and say, and when I got back in, I ordered 2 more of those. Needless to say, I didn't last very damn long. No.
But you gave it a shake.
Yeah. I visited the Watkins plant down right by Redway. It was quite an experience. And yeah. So other than that, since I got out of the hoist, I have no regrets of working with the hoist. I lost my hearing.
You just
Yeah, just noise, percussion. Nobody told you to, plug up your ears. And well, the hoist, I had a good thought about it. I lost it.
the hoist did you right, provided for the family.
Oh yeah. But as far as the hearing, I worked in the. There's a lot of noise, bang, slip hammers, bang, bang. But they go to the nurse. You ought to take turns going to the nurse and have her check you over. So in the meantime, I was assigned. I was chairman of the shop, and I was also on the safety committee. And he says, "Okay, we're gonna get all you different shop people, supervisors and stuff. We're gonna have a running a film about wearing safety shoes, wearing here, how to do. In other words, safety factors." Here's the camera going. Here's the guy in a machine shop. Drill press. And here's the people coming along with the. And this is a film about safety. One of the people in the crew would say to the guy on the drill press, "Does that noise ever bother you?" "Yeah, you get used to it.
Oh,
You're losing your hearing."
yep.
So thank God I got a hearing aid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Modern technology.
yeah. So, and I left the hoist. And we were doing fine until I'd go to those 2 or 3 times I went to the walk-on for cancer, just because Dave and Karen were doing in a group deal, and everybody go to the high school, march around and get your little paper bag with a candle in it with somebody's name on there and make a donation.
Yep.
So you never know when it's going to happen.
Nope. Count the blessings while we have them.
Yeah.
And how long were you and Marion married for? Over 50 years, I know that. 'Cause I was there for the 50th.
I didn't put it.
How long were you guys married?
Old?
How long?
How long? Not enough.
That's a good
I
answer.
think we were 50, maybe, I could look it up. I think in 57, something like 50. And we were close to 60. No record, but, yeah.
It's a record to me.
Yeah.
It's quite the legacy.
Well, unless you get tired of each other and something happens. That's, and nothing, no contrast, nothing contrastic, and nothing bad. There's no end until somebody dies. And that's the facts of life.
It is. We're all going to get there one day.
See? So my life is pretty simple. But I was sitting here when Marion died. And I'd never, I had heard of cancer, obviously. My Aunt Peggy, she had cancer for a year, earlier in her life, and she had a major surgery, something like that. And so, but I was just, Marion died in '05.
Yep.
And I didn't, I couldn't actually believe it.
Yeah?
That there's no outside, there's no internal signs. And so she went to the hospital down there, and they said, so Marion passed away on the 5. So I was, continuing on. And then just to bring up another side of my life, that I loved to work in the woodwork, make things out of wood. From the family, I guess they all got some tulips and stuff, whatever.
I got a swing.
But anything that wasn't a lot of work and fun. And I was sitting in, and I got that swing from I don't know how, years ago, the kids, I always think the kids, but none of them can remember for sure that they got together and gave us that for a present one time. So I was sitting back on the swing. This was 2 years after Marion died, '07. I can make these. They ain't too complicated. 19 swings later, I quit.
I'm lucky enough to have one.
2 years ago. But I made 19 swings. Some of them, my early swings Uh, I, I, I had to learn as I went along that you need tighter joints here. You need so you otherwise you're using a lot of talking.
I think that's anything in life. There's a learning curve to it.
Only one swing. I just said, I'll give you the wood, and you keep it going, because you got wood preservatives, you got wood, you got all the stuff if you don't, otherwise you can just let it age and then take care of it. But only one. Helen Olson, she wanted hers stained. And that was hard to, because you can't cover flaws with a stain. Uh, you know, Angelina, you know her,
Familiar.
from goes to the Ian's Collins' mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Angelina. I made a swing for them,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and I had it painted. We painted it. Painted it to match her shutters on her house. Other than that, every swing was put some wood preservative on. Beth was finally let hers. But I put too many coats on her. I think 5 coats over the years. But anyway, so I don't do any work in the shop anymore. Not that I don't. Peter says I got some. Maybe I can think of something that you can work on down in. But you might have 3 months in the whole year when you can be down that much.
Yeah. She can get a little cold in the winter.
Yeah.
No heat makes it a little rough.
No. When they winter, they had the program. Sign up for the program. We'll come out and you check all your house and tell you why you are cold in the winter. So I appreciate that very much. So they come out and they had a thing set up here by the store, and they did run in and they set all the charts and stuff, and they could tell you how much your heat loss, where the leaks are and stuff. The problem is, Ian, in the first place, I didn't build this house.
Okay.
I finished it.
Okay.
How much time you got?
I got all kinds of time.
I didn't build it. But living in St. Paul with a large family, and I said, I got to be looking at something better. When they closed Rondo and everything moved over on us, I got nothing against color, absolutely not. But I just, this neighborhood is going downhill. I know it will. And so I started looking around and see, what my options are. One of the guys, Bob Teskey, has lived in Stillwater and worked at the hoist. And he says, my sister has a house out there on Martha Avenue, and I think she wants to sell it. And maybe you'd like to take a look at it. So I drove out and I looked at it, and it was a nice house, older house, and still nice here. But I said, that's covered in the kitchen. It wasn't my idea of what I'd like in my kitchen and stuff like that. So anyway, I was driving by and there was empty lot, and there was a bunch of pine trees growing up in there. Sign for sale, lot for sale. So to make a long story short, I talked to him. There's an empty lot going down behind the hospital on I even forget the name of the damn street now. But I thought I'll be interested in buying a lot and maybe think about putting a house on it. So I did. I bought a lot, had the plans drawn up. But one of those things where some people in the neighborhood weren't really, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but my house was going to stick out, the road curved up like this, and my house was going to stick out here. And the guy from down here is going to have to look at part of my house. I just know the guy, he's screwy. But
There's a few of them out there.
anyway, I said, so I said, I'll start checking it out. And here was, I don't know how I got a hold of this guy. But he says, yeah, down at Fanning Supply, down in Lakeland, they supply all of the lumber and whatever, roofing. They will come up there with the 2 bus loads, and they're with their, and when they leave, you just put in your foundation, do all that, and have your lower, basement, cement and everything, and we'll frame a house for you. Well, each doorway that needs will have a 2x4s, and the ceiling, cross beam, rafters, and all that kind of stuff. Your job is to cover everything up.
Okay.
How you do that, it's up to you. So I had Fanning to make a supply. Well, what happens is they take the mortgage and they hold it. And you have so much time when you have to turn it over to a bank, pay them off. Well, I went long because I was really struggling, working 2 jobs at that time. Just coming in here and working daytime hours, as many as I could. And so that's how we got the house going. So I just did all the finish work. I did the contracting for the ceilings and the plumbing and the heating and everything. I did all the brickwork by myself except this. I did all the outside brickwork myself. I says, brickwork? I never said a brick in my life. So,
Well, it's still standing, so you must have figured it out.
yeah. So the guy, some of the names don't escape me now. But Larry worked across the highway on 5 on some of the house over there. He worked for Vern Donay or somebody finishing houses. As a carpenter. Larry, I said, I know anybody looking for a job doing some brickwork. Why? Well, I want to get a brick front on my house and the front around garage. He was that kind of a guy. He says, do it. Do it. You go to kindergarten. I think I might have. Didn't you pile some blocks when you were in kindergarten? It's the same damn thing. You can draw a line across, put a string on there, and get your bricks, get your mix. So he come out and he did about maybe a row of the bricks in front of the garage. Says, now you're on your own. And the planter, and I did the planter too. Unfortunately, the planter didn't hold up, mainly because I didn't put a, I forget what you call it, but up near the top, I hit it, everything should have stopped, but I had it wide open from there all the way up. And so at one point, we had to do some rebricking years later. But anyway, fanning supply. So I'm just going to end the story because I had trying to get financing to pay off fanning supply, and I was not getting any help from Twin City Federal. They wouldn't even come out and look at the damn. My house was, up. The roof was on. The doors were on. Everything done. Well, I had a problem with the wiring. Not the wiring, but the lead in from the pole. I did something wrong and I blew a transformer. When I brought that big cable in downstairs and hooked it up, apparently I had a bare spot trying to get that worked into the foundation and everything. We had a bad break. So Chuck Thompson, he called me from work. I was at work, and he says, maybe you want to come out here tomorrow. We've had a little problem. So I come out, and he says, yeah, your wiring, you blew a transformer. So he would show me what I did wrong, bringing that in. So he hooked it up for me. And I said, Chuck, I don't know. I need money bad. I got it. Fanning has been very patient with me. They've been, how many months that I have, been asking me, is there something you can do with it? And these are his exact words. You go down and see Washington Federal. They got a room full of money in the back. That simple? So I went down and talked to, I assume the president or vice president, anyway, looked very important. I said I got a house partially built, but I need money to finish it, not need to pay off the building mortgage, stuff like that. And I said, I'm looking for a loan. Well, I'll just say this was Monday. He said, well, maybe by Wednesday or so we'll come up and take a look at it. Tuesday morning I got a call and it says, come on down. We went up and looked at your structure, your house and everything, where you're located. None of these houses were here then. This was the only house on this whole deal. These were all up here.
Yep.
So I said, I'm good, happy to talk to you. Extremely happy. I went down there. I got a mortgage for $17,000. I paid off Fanning. I had no mortgage, no debts anywhere. Almost anything I needed came from Montgomery Ward. Appliances, stuff like, except the washer and dryer. And so with the $17,000, I was able to continue. So why I have this huge window, but apparently the guy that the draftsman that drew up the plans and everything, he said, well, the type of house that you want, you need a big window because you're going to have a lot of bare wall. There's going to be nothing on there unless you want to get a couple of small windows. He says, in the way you got what you call, not ranch style, but anyway, you give it a California style or something. And it shows, here's the pictures in there, it shows this window. I said, okay. So that's how I got that thing. So I've looked at that window and I said, I don't know what else I would do without it.
Yeah.
I tell the neighbors, I'm not nosy. I don't give a damn what you do. But I want to bring the Anderson windows, which I have installed in the whole house, except that might be it. Might be Anderson window. That's Anderson too. It says, bring the outdoors indoors.
Yeah.
And Ian,
No reason to be in a box.
you're right. And I would take a walk in the morning. I was 9 o'clock, I'm walking. And I walk back through these streets and I say, is that actually the front of their house? You got a door and that's all you got.
Yep.
I mean, you're isolated from the world.
It's no way to live.
Everybody likes their own, whatever they want for themselves.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all.
Not
So
for
when
me.
Peter would say, somebody say, but no, wrong. I did not build this house. But as I started to say prior, when I got sidetracked, they come in here with their equipment and they're standard and the thing and these are solid plaster. They're not sheetrock.
Yep.
It's a sheetrock under there. Solid plaster. 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 These are cold.
Yep.
Just like having a window open.
Yep.
So we got it partially stuffed off in there. So, but he says, your heat loss up through there. You know. So we did something with that. But they said, down in the basement I had a vent for the garage. Kill that. Why are you heating a garage? Well, at the time I thought it was a good idea because I like to work in the garage, but not in the winter, bitter cold. So you're clearing. So they didn't. They went up in the attic and they blew it in. I used to get icicles out here. I never had an icicle in 20 years because there's no heat loss up there. The attic vents are open. The only thing is, they can't do a thing about my outside walls. They said, we'd love to finish. We got that. We got the garage. We got that. We got your doors insulated. All in it. And all that. We can do nothing with your outside wall. It's only 3.5.
Oh, so it's just not.
And we can't blow in any insulation, anything. It has to be 6 inch.
Oh.
5.5.
Yep.
So I got a cold wall. Cold walls.
I got some of those too.
how somebody somebody originally built it. Well, this is hell. People want to build a house. The house I lived on Edmund, you could. Okay. When I came back out here, I was going to live up there. I said I need some outlets. I needed electricity. Okay, I'm going to run a line down to the wall, down, 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 until I get down and hook up and get some power. There's newspapers in here.
Yes, there is.
What now? Newspapers burned.
Oh,
Crumpled up newspapers stuffed in that was the insulation.
that it was.
I'm surprised they didn't use corn cobs or something.
I'm sure you can find them in some walls.
So I think you're up to date.
Yeah.
I'm extremely proud of my family. I'm extremely proud of my friends. My family has blossomed out into, like I said, the point I was trying to make, which sometimes the point isn't long enough, but I said, when you marry, you plant seeds, the seeds grow, you have a family. And that's about the way, I'm just, I have some great friends and my kids made good marriages. Good marriages. Some don't work out, but you can't live somebody else's life for them, Ian.
No, you can't.
You can just give them support. You want some ideas, or you want somebody to listen to your complaint, I'll listen. But that's about the way life goes.
With 10 kids, you're going to get a full spectrum. You can have...
Yeah. I wish if wishes were whatever. But here I had 7 boys, 3 girls.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of the girls. Oh, no. They could do it too. I need a lawyer, a doctor, and I need all these service people to hey, stop over. I got a problem over it. I got. That's funny though. My kids, I don't say I never spanked them. I don't say that I wasn't aware of them. I just know that I never did what I didn't feel was needed. In support of Marion. I said, your mother is the boss. I'm not here. She is the boss. In the end, I'll be honest with you, there's more than once I got a call down at the hoist.
Working the night shift.
And that's somebody I had to talk to then. I never said when I come home I'm gonna belt the hell out of you. They were gonna talk about it. My dad shaving. How do you keep that shaver so sharp? Strap. Leather strap. Leather strap hung on a nail in the back of the bathroom door, and you better behave. You got whopped with it. People weren't going to be aroused at somebody giving a kid a spanking with a belt. But it's not human. But hey, my dad. That's the last story I'm going to tell you, maybe.
I hope there's many more.
But when I lived over on Tillman Avenue, on Moxham, on Coleman Avenue, I was just starting school. First grade, maybe. And there was an alley, and across the alley was the Syrian family. Their house faced that way, our house faced this way. But I would go to school with those kids. Rosemary Jihad was her last name. Lebanese or Syrian, same thing, practically. In fact, I'd sometimes hit their house when they were having breakfast, and his mom would give me a bowl of oatmeal. But anyway, I would go to school with those kids. But for whatever reason, I don't know, I was with one of their kids or by myself. But I was late for school. I walked up to school. There's nobody out in the playground. There's nobody around. And there was a window, and that was the end, the window for the room. And I could look in the window and see that's the coat room. And all the kids are in their clothes are in the coat room. School started. I'm not going to school. I'm not going to walk into school now. Well, I should have walked into school. My dad worked the night shift, and he was home. I went back and said, I'm not going to go to school today. I got a whooping. My father was a very kind man. He's kind. He's kind of like to beat you. No, he wasn't. No, my father was very stern, but he was our family name came. I think we can trace it back to France somewhere. One time I had a genealogy set up. My niece, Mary Jo over in West St. Paul, she does genealogy for the whole, both Losacker and Trays, got all those charts and everything. She could probably, but I don't know where my family came from. But once in a while I lose a thought. thought I had a good point.
You've had a few of them already.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the eras before, the whoopings and the belts, that happened in the past, and that's something that we've, grown and evolved from.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's just part of parenting and fathering. We learn, try to be better than the last generation, learn from them.
Well, yeah, what could I say? You up to a certain age, you're pretty much, but after that, it can, they can do anything to get into mischief or get into not be, uh, my dad was a policeman. And this is back in the days when people were out on the corner trying to sell you an apple for 5 cents. Things were tough all over. So there were no jobs. There were jobs. If you don't work, you're in the mischief. On my dad's side, one of my uncles, maybe even one or more than one, yeah, because it did us. I think they broke into a store. So he got the call. So I went to their house and banged on the door. As soon as they opened the door, they say, "Hi, Uncle O." The paddy wagon's here waiting for you, boys. You're gonna take a little ride. Yeah. But
What is the thing that you can say all these years later, all the kids, grandkids, great grandkids, what would you say is the highlight, the proudest moment of where you are today and what you've seen?
well, I was just going to touch a little bit. Yeah, I'll come back to it. But the genealogy, my mother is Scotch Irish. Actually, the name is Robinson. And my dad is Pennsylvania Dutch, French Canadian. And that's why I think there's some tracing back to it. It's extremely okay. Let me go back to the beginning. I had 10 children. Then 10 children might have married 10 mates. Those children and mates became a family. I enjoy my family very much. When they get together, even with cousins and nieces back and forth with the family, it's always good conversations, talking back and forth. Good. I don't know if there's any bad spot anywhere in there, but because I don't always put my mind to it, I just say, somebody will say, "How many grandchildren you got?" I says, "I don't know." "How many great grandchildren?" I know when I see them, they're my grandchildren. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. But I to say, I should make a list. Okay, there's 20 grandchildren. There's 13 great grandchildren. Wait a minute. It might be 14 by now. But I know I woke up. I lay in bed and I read and I work the word puzzle, find a word, and then I got a book and I read, Jan Gray book. So I'll wake up, maybe go to bed at 10, wake up at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Okay, I'll sit and read for a little while, back down again. So, unless something's like, okay, a birthday party, I can't sleep thinking about my birthday party. Or something else. Or somebody's gonna have surgery. Or somebody's gonna, or it bothers me. I can't sleep. Or you say something wrong, and you know you shouldn't have said it. And the only thing you can do is forget about it if you can. And I know that more than one time I had to go to somebody and say, I want to apologize for this. I know you were offended, and I was trying to be funny. We'll just put it there. But I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, I can't think of her name. My grandchild. I can think of, a lot of them, most of them. Like somebody has a little different, Desmond. You don't know anybody other than this Desmond.
Yeah.
Or this Jackson. But I got this little, the girl, she said, and I got the picture of her, but I can't think of her name. I was out getting breakfast, poured my orange juice. Natalie.
Yep.
Right off the bat, Natalie. Ryan.
Yep.
His daughter. That's why the party, I was glad people like Moose, I know Moose, but when you first see them in a crowd, I know this guy. But of course, most of them come up and right up to you. And Moose and Sue, nice people. But yeah, I in some things I'm pretty sharp. Somebody will ask him a name, think of a movie and say, yeah, I got it. Otherwise, everybody does the same thing. You do the alphabet. Let's see, A, B, C, C. Charles. I should remember that. What do we do without the alphabet?
The tricks. Yeah, like I say, I'm very proud of my family. Proud of having, extremely grateful for people who are,
showing up all these parties stuff because that shows that they still like me somewhat.
Oh yeah. Wouldn't miss it.
Yeah. Well, Marion was the party person. She, she's the one that started this tradition of having a family meal on a holiday. Would I have thought of it? I don't know. Probably would have. But she said that. Yeah, there was just her and Arlene. Charlie and Sophie had no boys. No boys.
So I think we're probably getting ready to land the plane. I imagine you got to get to church here soon. Is there any?
Yeah, I'm gonna go down there and see if they'll let me in.
So you show up for every week, right?
Yeah, I like to go on Saturday night because it isn't crowded at all. So.
It is nice. So is there any final words of wisdoms or thoughts you have for your kids, your grandkids, other fathers, those of the world that are trying to raise up their own?
Well, do as you would have done. Behave yourself. Love everybody. You don't know when you're gonna need. Yeah, and that's about all.
I think that sums it up perfectly.
I thank you.
Well, I thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I thank you all for tuning in here. I hope you've enjoyed our time together and look forward to seeing you guys again. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Keep getting better every day, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Well, I certainly hope you all got as much value and enjoyment out of that conversation as I did. And I know as I'm reflecting back on that conversation, there's a couple key takeaways I had. First was just how he spoke about the importance of the household and who was in charge while he was away at work, and that mom was in charge, and that you needed to listen and be respectful of her, as that was the design of the house and what was to be. Second was the work ethic that he had and that he put in to provide for the large family, providing for him, mama, 10 kids. That's a lot of needs, just a lot of needs there, and just what it took to do that. And his final thoughts, which will be my final thoughts as well, but to love everybody. And as we're called to do, love thy neighbor. It doesn't always mean that we're necessarily going to root for the same sports team, or we're going to line on the same soda drink, or have all the same views when it comes to the polls. What it does mean is that we find the common ground. We find a way to respect others and where they come from in life, and walk with love and compassion for our brothers and sisters on this earth. So with that, I thank you all for joining us once again today. If any of this brought you value, do think about subscribing it and sharing it with a friend. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.
That's it.
Over and out.
10-4, big buddy.